Hi everybody, I'm here with the lovely ladies from Rushbrook and Rathbone, and we just wanted to get to know them a little bit more. The reason they're laughing is because I cocked up the opening line right at the start here. But we thought we wanted to get to know the ladies at Rushbrook and Rathbone a bit more. So I've got a few questions for these guys, and hopefully, if you want to know a bit more about lettings with 𝐒𝐏𝐻𝐃, then you can contact them, get to know them a bit more in this video, but then contact them afterwards. So firstly, we're going to come to Vicky. Vicky, tell us a little about yourself. Who are you?
Well, I'm Vicky. I'm operations manager at Rushbrook and Rathbone. I am currently living in Huddersfield, relocated last year. I've got a beautiful baby boy, 1 year old. And I've worked at R&R for coming up 7 years, starting at the very bottom and just working my way up through department by department, and now ideally heading up 𝐒𝐏𝐻𝐃 and the new agents and getting them onboarded and letting them know what they're in for.
Good stuff. Love it. Susan?
Hi, I'm Susan. I'm the Associate Director of Rushbrook and Rathbone. I've been here around about the same time as Vicky, about 7 years. I'm married. I have one son who's currently at university studying astrophysics. I started working here in the accounts department. Roma soon had other ideas. She knew I'd been a managing director before of an aviation company, and she wanted to strengthen her management team, so she asked me to become an associate director. But I predominantly concentrate on the accounting, the management accounts of the business. So yeah, that's me.
Good. And I'm sure people will be wondering what an astrophysicist does as well, but I won't. We'll leave that one for another video. But tell us a little bit, what are the products and services that R&R, Rushbrook and Rathbone offer to estate agents and letting agents?
Predominantly back office. Predominantly back office management to agents. So obviously, running a management department with less than 80 to 100 properties, it's not very economic for most agents. So ideally, that's when they contact us. We offer everything from pre-tenancy, full management, rent collection service. We also do block management. And the newest model is the outsourcing of the pre-tenancy to 𝐒𝐏𝐻𝐃 agents, where we also offer the managed and rent collection service to the agents as well.
Okay, and so Susan, you don't advertise the properties. That's one of the reasons you can do such good sort of, I suppose, management fees, because you don't have the costs of the portals, of high street shops, of the advertising of the property. You just deal with that, purely that. Once the tenant's found, you then move them in, you then do the management. That kind of sums it up, I suppose.
That's it. Yeah, we do all the pre-tenancy paperwork. And then we organise the move-in for the tenants, and then depending on what service the landlord wants, we either then provide a rent collection service or we do our full management service. So it includes our 24 hours a day service as well.
And you work with, I mean, how many? You've got hundreds of clients around the country, haven't you? Not just 𝐒𝐏𝐻𝐃, you've got hundreds of estate agency businesses who sort of, I guess, outsource their property management to you guys. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, literally it is now nationwide. We started off with just small to medium-sized local agents when Sarah Rushbrook first started up Rushbrook and Rathbone in 1988. And also we did looking after clients who had to go overseas to work. We looked after their properties whilst they were overseas for them. That was the startup of Sarah's business. But yeah, we do now. We've got some quite large agents out there that we're handling their properties for.
Okay, and so that direct to the agent business model, I suppose, is very clever, because it takes a lot of the stress out, doesn't it, Vicky? Where the agent doesn't have to, the estate agency business doesn't have to worry about the compliance and all the muck and bullets that you guys have to deal with when you're managing a property.
Absolutely, and I think one massive USP for us is the fact that we tick all the legislation, all of the serving of the documents when you issue a tenancy agreement, making sure you register the deposit within a certain time frame. A lot of agents are scared by the implications of not doing that, so they outsource it to us and have that comfort to know that every box has been ticked the way it should be, so that any landlord doesn't have any issues with tenants should they need to at the end of a tenancy.
Okay, so just diving into that a bit more, just to really clarify that. So obviously you've been working with EXP agents for a while now. Have you got any examples there and stories that can help them understand how you've helped their business from a efficiency point of view, a compliance point of view, just all of those? You've probably got loads of examples, I'd imagine, haven't you? I don't know who wants to go first. Vicky, you go first. Go on.
Loads of examples, but I really wouldn't want to name names, because certain agents have come to me and they've said, Vicky, I haven't got a clue. I'm all into sales. I'm not really interested in lettings, but I keep getting landlords coming to me. So can you just tell me exactly from start to finish how we can do it, what we can do, what we can offer, and how we can maximize profits? And that's what we've done, basically. There's other agents who are really successful in the letting side of the business, and they've used us as predominantly their back office for their management portfolio, and have portfolios of 20, 30, 40 plus strong properties. Yeah. So it works for both sides of the coin, definitely.
So Susan, just getting this right. So if I was an agent at EXP, which I suppose technically I am, but I don't sell houses anymore. But if I was doing that full time, then I could go to my old contacts that I have in Hitchin, centre of the universe, as we all know. I could go to Andrew, my old footballing friend who's got 12 properties. I could go to Jeremy, my old investor friend who's got 14, 15 properties. And I'd go to those guys and I say, look, Andrew, Jeremy, give me your properties. I'll let them through the EXP platform, and then I just hand everything off to you, to R&R, and then it's completely hands off for me, right? That's how it works?
Yeah, that's it, exactly. Yeah, we deal with everything. We collect the rents in, we pay the landlords, any maintenance issues that arise, we will sort the maintenance out for them. Depending on what the landlord agrees to at the start, if they agree for us to hold afloat, we have then that there in case there is an emergency, and we can just arrange. We don't have to keep bothering the landlord all the time saying, this has happened. Obviously, if it's a high value, then yes, we'll contact the landlord. But if we've got that flow, which is a brilliant thing to have, we can just organise the maintenance straight away without having to keep bothering the landlord or the agent. It just runs really smoothly.
Sounds like a no-brainer to me. If I was doing that, and you mentioned earlier, Vicky, about agents liking sales and not particularly liking lettings, and I know someone who feels that way as well. As one of those people who prefers sales, I don't dislike lettings. I see that there's a huge value in lettings, and I think every agent should be doing it and looking at it and seriously considering it, especially in the market we're going into. But to have that comfort that it can be completely hands off. You don't have to deal with the tenants, you don't have to deal with the landlords, you don't have to deal with the maintenance, because you guys are dealing with that, and at a pretty decent cost as well, I must say. If you were going to a full high street estate agent, letting agent, you're going to be spending a lot more on that management side of it, because they're doing all the advertising and all that kind of stuff. So that relationship between, I suppose, EXP and R&R is really important for the agent and for the customer. So I know you're at the back end of stuff usually, but have you lead generation for landlords? I mean, it's one of the toughest lead generation things you can. Trying to generate landlords is very, very difficult. Have you seen anything in the marketplace that works really well? What do you reckon?
I think for us, if we ever need to, we have records over the past 35 years. But from my experience, the Rightmove leads are invaluable. I know a lot of agents that I speak to on a day-to-day basis said, I've just had a landlord contact me off of Rightmove, and because they were using the EXP platform, they were able to offer a slightly cheaper rate than general high street agents, and they've got them straight away and struck up a lovely relationship. So for me, Rightmove leads is always the way forward, and always was when I was an estate agent.
Okay, cool. Susan, any thoughts from you on lead gen for landlords?
As I say, as Vicky said, obviously, because we've been in the business not a long time, word of mouth is really important. So obviously, creating a good image for yourself and for the business is really important, because then word of mouth spreads, and that also brings in business to you. We've had quite a few recently where we've been recommended, to other agents or to landlords. And it does bring in a lot of business. So, making sure that you're giving a good service is really, really important.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Yeah, word of mouth really important. Just for my 2 pennies worth, for anyone watching this who was wondering what I think, networking with the right people. You've got to have the right audience in anything you try and do, any business you try and start up. And it's difficult to find those landlords because you can't send letters to them because the tenants are living there. But the landlords are probably on the golf course. They're at property investor network meetings. They're at that sort of thing. So start thinking about, where does a landlord hang out, and go and hang out in the same places and start to get to know people and start having conversations. So that's what I'd be doing. Auctions, I'd be going to auctions. Every auction I could possibly think of, I'd get to know the people in the auction room, because a lot of them will be landlords looking to buy a property, rent it out. So yeah, that's what I'd be doing if I was looking to try and find landlords. So coming back to you, Susan. So advice in terms of advice to estate agents that are looking to achieve success in lettings, what would that be from your point of view?
Really to obviously once they've got their landlord or their property, to come and speak to us, to pass it over to us. We can give them all the guidance that they need to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Yeah, that's it. Basically, let us handle all the documentation, all the legislation. We want to make sure that they're compliant the whole way through. We will advise them the whole way through. Whilst we're doing all the back end stuff, they can be out there finding more business. So for them to increase what they're doing, they need to be working with us, and we will handle all the other stuff for them, really.
Yeah, so leveraging other people and other people's knowledge, I suppose. And it's the same as sales, right? If you're getting busy on sales, then start outsourcing to an administrator or a sales progressor, which then allows you to free up more time to go and find more sales. It's exactly the same thing, leveraging people all the time. So Vicky, you got any sort of top tips?
Yeah, just to add to what Susan said, I think for me, it's really about managing expectations from the very beginning, not over promising a landlord and letting him know that we can move a tenant in 2 days' time and all references and inventories and cleaning will be done. I think for me, I've always established all of my relationships with any landlord, tenant or agent based on honesty. And if I get an offer and it's 4 tenants, 4 guarantors, I'm realistic with the agent and landlord from the beginning and say, look, it's not going to be turned around in 5 days. Reference is going to take a while. We've got a few self-employed in there. We have to get accountant reference. Let's move the start date to another week's time, and let's work towards that and be realistic. And I think people appreciate the honesty from the beginning, rather than getting so close to a move-in date, panic, and then someone's at the front end of it. And generally it's R&R. But I find as I've said, when I start a relationship, I always base it on honesty.
Yeah, good. Okie dokie. So getting into the nitty gritty, what promotions, product launches have you got coming up, Vicky, for EXP agents?
I think at the minute we're looking at doing when we're onboarding, or when I'm onboarding, or Roma, we're looking to do perhaps a Zoom call for agents to understand how our system works, how our office works, what information we require, and so they can get a real understanding of how R&R are going to process their offers for them, and looking forward to meeting them all at the Christmas party. Good
stuff. And Susan, what are the costs for an EXP agent if they're going to be using R&R for the rent collection or the property management?
Okay, so rent collect charge is £25 plus VAT per month, and the management is £50 plus VAT up to this depends on how much the rent is, the rentable value. So that £50 is up to rents of £2,000, and then anything over £2,000, it's £65 plus VAT per month. But that's fully managed. That includes everything.
Fully managed. Okay, so and that's correct as of what are we, 1st of November 2023, and probably into early next year.
Yeah.
But never know, inflation might change things if you're watching this video a year later. But yeah, look, I mean, you know, for me, as I said a minute ago, as I said earlier, just for you guys watching this video, if I've got, you know, 50 properties and there's the average rent's £1,000 and I'm charging 10% to the landlord, well, I'm giving essentially 5% away to R&R, but I'm not giving it away. I'm giving it away to people who then mean I don't have to employ a property manager. I don't have to employ an inventory clerk. I don't have to worry about my compliance or my you know, all the other bits and pieces that you need to have in order to rent a property, collect a deposit, pay a deposit back, do the renewals, all that stuff. And I'm just taking that tickle in the middle, which is free money. It's absolutely free money. I can't see anything other than it being a good thing to be looking at and seriously considering. So that being the case, Vicky, where can, and we'll put contact details down below here, but how can agents contact you if they're interested in moving forward with you guys?
They can ring the main office number 01462 420 or they can contact us via the website, Google Rushbrook and Rathbone Limited, and there's a contact us box on there.
Good stuff. And just to be really, really clear, well, in fact, let's just rewind. One more question I've got for you before we go on to that. The onboarding process, what does that look like in terms of an agent contacts you and they get onboarded? Do they get bombarded with stuff? You help them on board and all that kind of thing?
Generally, yeah, they're bombarded with everything. Angie or Lauren will pop over the details and they'll get a call from me explaining the process in full. Generally a half-an-hour conversation, and I'll email all the details over to them. Then they'll come back to me usually with 10,000 questions because it's so much information to take in. And that's how our relationship starts and progresses.
Good. And it actually leads me on to nicely what I was going to say, just to be really clear that there's no obligation for an agent to use your services for the property management or rent collection, is there? They don't have to. You do, as an agent with 𝐒𝐏𝐻𝐃, have to use Rushbrook and Rathbone for the pre-tenancy and the move-in process. That's correct, isn't it? Right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason for that is that Rushbrook and Rathbone indemnify 𝐒𝐏𝐻𝐃 for any compliance cock-up. So as an agent, if you're going outside of Rushbrook and Rathbone and you're getting your own compliance done, then you're in trouble and we're in trouble. We can't have that. So R&R have to do the move-in, pre-tenancy work and the move-in. But then it's completely your free choice as to whether you carry on using Rushbrook and Rathbone for rent collection or management or not, as the case may be, and do it yourself. But as I've said a few times now in this video, I see no reason why you wouldn't use that for 50 quid a month up to £2,000. It makes complete sense to be completely hands-off and just taking that little tickle in the middle. Good, so we're nearly at the end. Final question, the most important one of the entire 20 minutes or so. Two questions here. Firstly, are you both coming to the Christmas party?
Yes, we are.
Secondly, have you got your outfits ready, and what are they?
You got yours,
bin bag at this point in time. No, I haven't got anything ready. I've got a couple of things in mind, but it'll most likely be black or dark because that's me, as you can tell.
Good.
I went to Milton Keynes at the weekend and saw quite a few nice things. So I'm taking my husband in a couple of weeks' time so that he can pay for it.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was going to say. I bet he'll be paying. That's the right thing to do, Susan. You've done the right thing there. Good stuff. Well, look, thanks guys very much for taking part in this. And as I say, if any of you watching 𝐒𝐏𝐻𝐃ers want to get in touch, and I say the new year is a really good time to start thinking about new strands to your business. Lettings is definitely one of those strands. It's what gave me the value to exit my business in 2015 to the Connells Group was the lettings business. So it's massively important to have that if you can, and to be building it up without any cost, without any risk, without any drama and grief and hassle, by using a company like R&R is, I completely endorse it. So thank you very much, ladies, and look forward to seeing you on the 14th of December.
Thank you. Look forward to seeing you.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.